Okie dokie guys, in today's video, as you would have seen by the title most likely, we are going to be trying to get this old dirt bike going. Now, if you're a classic dirt bike collector or someone who's an enthusiast for Yamaha dirt bikes particularly, you would have straight away most likely noticed exactly what model of dirt bike this was. If you didn't, however, this is a 1977 Yamaha DT400. So, that being said, this is a 400cc and better yet, it's also a two-stroke. So, as the title implied, I am going to try and get this going today. Most likely not going to be riding it because it has no front brakes and the tyres are a little bit shabby and a couple of other things are not that good. Like the fuel tank is not really that well restrained. Just ignore the riding on it as well. If you are a die-hard Yamaha collector, you probably won't appreciate that tank sitting on this bike. However, we do need it to help us get it going today. Pretty much the whole engine is complete enough to run. It has all of its coils, its carburetor, everything like that. We will need to do a little bit of work to the carburetor. There's a couple of lines that have busted on it, and the throttle is also very sticky. I think it is stuck anyway. So we'll have to pull that apart and rectify what's going on there. I already tried getting spark out of it and I don't believe I saw any spark. So we'll also have to have a look at that. I believe on this side it has breaker points or something around that sort of vicinity of electrics. So hopefully it's as simple as the breaker points just being dirty and we just need to clean them up a little bit and check the cap. But enough of me yapping. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the regular things I usually do. Spark and fuel. Rightio, here's a quick view of the bike in general. Just thought I'd give you a quick view. Just ignore the front end. That is not the original front end, I believe. At least my dad said that anyway. It's also, as you would have noticed, that is not the original fuel tank. It's also missing an air box. So that's sort of why I don't want to ride it long, I just want to get it going. But luckily for me, all of this has been plugged off, so, and the motor does rotate. I have tried to spin it over. It doesn't have the best compression, but if you do try and kick it fast, it does actually build up really quickly and you have a lot of compression sitting under you. So hopefully it's got enough to run. I'm assuming it does. It was nowhere near like what the RMX was when it blew up, but yeah. Anywho, as I said, throttle is also stuck, as you can see, or it moves a little, but you have to return the cable yourself, as it doesn't like to do that. So we'll have to investigate that. Get my multi-grips and pull that off. But before we do that, as I said, I am going to recheck this spark and have a look at those points and see whether it does actually not have spark. So there's our plug loose. We'll just pull that out quickly, and there we go. And just simply unscrew our plug from inside the head. Like that. So there's our plug. By the looks of it, it's definitely been running a little bit, when it was running, it's definitely been running a little bit rich. Pretty much to be expected from a two-stroke anyway. They do like to run a bit on the rich side. Now, look in here. There's not much crud in there. But I might hook the compression tester up and we'll see what readings we can get from the compression tester. So I've just popped the camera up here. We've got our compression tester sitting in. I'll just kick it over a couple of times. Now, as our throttle is stuck, obviously I cannot open the throttle all the way up to do a proper test. But I have found with two strokes it doesn't really matter. Done it a lot on our outboards. So, and having the throttle wide open does not really matter from what I've found. However, on a four-stroke it's completely different. On a four-stroke it does matter. You'll get what I've found about 50 psi difference. So we'll kick it over. Jeebus. Oh, this thing's gonna run easy. It's got about, not with the throttle open either, about 123 psi of compression. Bloody beautiful. Right, so now I've done the compression test and I know it's actually worth my time trying to fiddle with this motor. Obviously, if the compression test read low, I would probably just stick it in the shed and not worry about it. But because we've got good compression, what I'm going to do now is, as usual, check the spark and just make sure 100% that I wasn't seeing things the day that I checked it. But yeah, I can't prop his anywhere up real good with the camera, so I will try and see first if I can get to spark, and then if it does, I will try and pop his up somewhere so you can actually see. But other than that, we will try our best to get some spark out of it. If not the end of the world. Rightio, you'll be pleased to know that I was definitely seeing things. This thing has actually got a really good spark. Just kick it over lightly and then I'll... There we go. So these are, it definitely has good spark. So we definitely know, or obviously the points will probably need cleaning at some point in time, but if it has got a points ignition, I still haven't researched that, but I do believe it's got a points ignition, that or it might be a CDI. Anywho, at least it's good that we have spark. We've got one part of the mystery, which is fuel, air and spark. So we've got that ticked off the list. Got no air filter, so we've obviously got air coming in, so we can tick that off. Last thing is fuel. So we'll move over to this carburetor, pull it off, obviously have a look at our throttle and see what the go is there, and then we will clean the carb, put it on, hook up some fuel lines to this tank and see if the old girl will cheech to life. Rightio, what I'm trying to do now is yank this carburetor off. So we'll start by taking our throttle assembly out, and while it's out I'll try and see if I can't get it unseized. Who knows, it could just be the slide in the carb, but it doesn't look like it actually. The carb actually looks really clean, not gonna lie. Holy dooly, check that out. Bit of tarnish in there, but nonetheless, holy dooly, that thing is actually clean as a whistle. It might be our cable as well, because if you look at this, I'll try and get it in the view of the camera. If I pull on the throttle now, that needle assembly pulls in, but when I push the throttle out, it doesn't return. So possibly is the cable which is faulty. Nonetheless, I will just leave it down here, just hanging like that. And looks to me as if it's just these four socket head cap screws which need to be taken off to remove the carburetor. Not that big of a deal, and we don't have an airbox, so that's even better. What I might try and do though is remove this clamp as well. I might try and do that first, and if we don't have any luck getting that off, I'll then remove all these cap screws and just take the whole lot off. There we go. So there's our clamp loosened. Just try and hold that there while I loosen it all the way off. And then we'll just take this forward and then just pop it out. Well, that was a piece of piss. Awesome. So there's our carb, and yeah, we'll chuck it on the bench now and we'll see if we can't clean it out and get this bloody thing going. Rightio, so we've got the carburetor off. First thing I want to try and do, obviously pull this hose off. Been a bit of a prick of a thing. I might have to go the other way. There we go. It's all broken anyway, so what's the point of having it on there? Alright, anywho, we will continue, and I'm going to pull this float bowl off. I'm not entirely sure what carb it's got. I think it's Makini. Is it Makini? Yeah, it's a Makini. It's got a mic on it, so it's Makini carb. So it's going to be a good carb to do, unlike a Cayenne. I have not had the best of luck with Cayennes in the past. I think they're very crappy to tune. Like, they hate large adjustments. They seem to work the best on small adjustments, whereas a Makuni, you can turn the screws any which way you want and it'll slowly adjust it, so you can really fine tune the carb. Cayennes, on the other hand, are very hard to tune. Having done the RMZ a couple of times, I know how much of a dog they are. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully there's no fuel in this. There was a little bit of really old fuel tarnish on the slide, but I'm hoping that there's no fuel in here. Hoping. There's no guarantee that there won't be any fuel in this, or in this float bowl, I should say. So, I'll just knock that loose. There we go, I think that's loose now, or at least loosening it up. Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a lot of oil in there. As you can see, there's a lot of oil, but very little fuel tarnish, which is awesome. I want to go with the floats here. Like a really weird float setup. Must operate off of this little catch here. I've never actually seen that before. Really weird. The first things first, this never would have run. It's got a stuck needle and seat. I've already seen that. So we'll have to free that up first. Oh, actually, I see how these floats work. They're supposed to go up on these little rails here. That is so cool. Holy crap. That is actually cool as. I'm not gonna lie, I've actually never seen that before. But that there, holy crap. I could actually play with that for ages. That is so cool though. Well, at least the oil's kept it clean anyway, so we'll put the float bowl to the side for now, because I don't really need that, unless I need to obviously empty it out. What we'll do is we'll start trying to pull all of this needle and seat out, so we can do that. So we've got the pin out for the float operating arm here. Let's see if I can. Oh, what is this? Some sort of a needle valve, maybe? Oh, okay. I see what that is. So that's supposed to keep your needle from falling out. This little piece of wire here. So obviously we probably need to take that off. At least to get the needle out anyway. So I'll try and clip that off if I can. Might have to go and grab a screwdriver. Alright, screwdriver obtained. Just try and pry it out of there lightly without breaking it. There we go. That flew away, but not very far. And now we should be able to just withdraw our needle. And just lucky that we have a steel needle. If it was a rubber one, it'd probably be rooted, but we do have a steel one, which is awesome. Okay, now I'm not sure where the pilot jet is. I'm wondering if that's our pilot there. Possibly. That's the one that will make our bike idle, so we at least want to make sure that's clear. Our main jet is definitely clear. We will pull all this out anyway, so I'll go and grab my spanners and we will start chopping into this carb. Right, so something I also brought with me is my 2 jet cleaners. So these are just little springs I've collected. The small one is very tiny. I think the wire is maybe about 0.5 mil. And the big one I think is around 0.75 mil. So 2 different little jet cleaners. The one I probably use the most is definitely the little one. Really great for clearing out the holes in your emulsion tube. Big one also works sometimes for like bigger carbs, like the RMZ's one, but I've really only had to use this small one here. And then for anything bigger than that, I usually use a sewing pin. That seems to work quite well. Unfortunately, that is not the size we're looking for. I think it's 6mm that, but we're going to do a very unmechanic thing here and just use these to loosen this off, which wasn't really even that tight. There's our main jet out, so that's pretty good. There's a plastic main jet as well, which is really weird. I don't know what size it is. I don't think it actually, oh no, it does. 180. So that's, I don't know what that is. 180. Is that like 1.8mm? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a carburetor expert, so I could not tell you. Just make sure these emulsion tube holes are clear with the spring, which they are, and then just make sure the jet itself is actually clear. Pretty far down, in all honesty. Let's try and get it to go in. There we go. Right, make sure our jet hole is clear, which it is. Bloody excellent. That's clear, obviously. Just make sure that all there is clear, which it is. Excellent. Alright, this must be the easiest, like, one, literally, not even joking, probably the easiest carb I've ever had to pull apart and clean. Probably could have just stuck fuel in the tank and it would have started straight up and run bloody beautifully. Yeah. There's like a new carb in here, not even joking. Looks awesome. There's a little bit of grub around it, but none that's super severe. The oil has sort of preserved most of the carb, in all honesty. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to blow through all these tubes with a bit of air quickly. I'll also brake clean all the oil and crud out of it, and then we will put the carb back on and we will try and get the bike to go. Righto, so we've got everything cleaned out in the carb, and needle valve now comes in and out really, really nice, really free, and it can dump out like that. You're looking for that with a needle. If per se the needle does not like flop out, then the needle needs to be cleaned or renewed if you can renew it. I've just cleaned this one up and I flipped it over and it falls out every time, so that's great. That's exactly what you want, because you don't want a needle that's sticky, because obviously that won't let your fuel through. You also don't want to disturb the seal between the seat and the needle tip, as that will just allow excess fuel to pour into the carb. I'm just going to clean this what do you call it, float actuator or whatever it is. I'm not sure on the proper name for it. And then I'll stick this back on. There we go. So that needle valve doesn't come out. Chuck our float arm in there. Put our pin in. There we go. It's moving very freely. It's excellent. So we're going to get fuel into the carb, that's for sure. we've got to do this main jet. So we can chuck that in, and then we can simply just chuck our float bowl, the floats, back on. And 4. All right, I'll pop it back on. I won't make you watch me pop it on because you've already watched me take it off. But yeah, we'll get it on and I'll start hooking the fuel lines up to it so we can then fill it up with fuel and see if this baby runs. Alrighty, carburetor's back on. I've got our throttle fixed, so it's perfect now. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull this spark plug out and I'm going to inject a bit of 25-to-1 in there. And we're going to try and see if it will at least start. I'm not going to be running it long because it is the end of the day and I need to pack up and go home. But I'm really eager to see if it runs. I'm so close to getting it going. So I'm so eager that I'm going to just chuck a little bit of fuel with this syringe into the bore and we're going to see if it starts up. Alright, here goes. I can't remember which way this switch is supposed to go on the handlebars, but we've got our switch on the throttle control fully open. I'll just kick it over slowly and we'll see if it wants to run. Okay, so it definitely run. Well, we got a little bit out of it, so we definitely know this thing is gonna run. So tomorrow weights, we'll have to put the fuel lines on then, and we will see the old DT wants to come to life. It's definitely going to be smoky because of all the oil I put in it, but exciting. This thing's definitely going to run. Alrighty guys, that'll be it for the old DT400. So, as you would have seen, the thing runs like a champ. Started on, well, it fired on the first kick, and after that, I think it was the second kick with the choke on, it actually went. But yeah, it damn well runs pretty awesome for having sat so long. 15 years I think it's been since it was brought out of the shed and running. Don't quote me on that though. It could be either longer than that or less than that. But yeah, no. Nonetheless, I did take it for a spin. I got no video of that, sorry. But yeah, it's a bit of a bloody ride. It is, that's for sure. The fuel tank's not restrained on real well, so that sort of fell to the wayside when I took it down a hill. And yeah, it was a bit of fun and games trying to get it to sit back upright. Because again, I have no front brakes. And when that tank fell off, I found out very quickly that I had no front brakes again. Remembered that I had no front brakes. So yeah, we had to rely on the old back brake to slow us up and fix the tank up. But nonetheless, I'm going to put it back in the shed for now, but Dad and I have located a DT250, which we believe has some very similar parts to the 400. So we're hoping maybe we can possibly get the parts off of that DT250 and put on this to get this running, because the 250s I don't believe are as rare as the 400s. I think the 400s are the rarest of the lot of the DT line. They are very hard to come by, and they're a very sought after collector's item. So I do intend to get this one back up to a standard where we can ride it around just whatever we want. Probably not restoration wise, probably won't be doing anything like that. I don't know if Dad's really keen on doing something like that, but I am definitely keen on getting it at least back to a operating condition where we can just take it for a spin whenever we want. But yeah, anyway guys, if you have stayed till this moment in the video, thanks for watching, and if you don't mind, if you did like the video, please like it, and please consider subscribing as well. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.